So Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche, we're very happy to talk to you today. So you wrote a very beautiful poem called Who Am I? Maybe we could begin by asking in a more relative level, in the level of your multiple identities and activities. So we save the best for the ending. Who are you? I mean, as a teacher, as a geshe, or in your many roles as a human being. What do you consider to be the common thread?
So, well, as you said, on an ultimate level, I'm no one. On a relative level, I am Tibetan. My parents are from Tibet. They left Tibet in 1959. I was born in India. Most of my life, I grew up from age 10 until I was 26, 7, grew up in the monastery. Got all my spiritual training in the monastery, and I graduated in the monastery degree called Geshe. Geshe is like equivalent to PhD, like a doctorate in the Western University. So after that, I was, I went to work in Dharamsala Library, and then I was invited in the West. A very kind invitation of Chogyal Namkhen Rinpoche in Italy, and then I start my journey to the West from Italy. So it's been quite a long time and doing a lot of things.
The Western world is finally beginning to recognize the wisdom of indigenous traditions of several regions of the world. You are representative of the Bon, an unbelievable ancient and enduring tradition founded by a fully enlightened Buddha, Tompa Shenab, more than 17,000 years ago. A lot of time. Having lived and also having studied this tradition throughout your whole life, what do you find most inspiring in it?
So, first of all, I feel very fortunate, very lucky to be born in the parents, even the old circumstances, losing country, parents are having difficulty fleeing Tibet as a refugee, a lot of suffering, poverty, pain. But I think all those turn out to be a very good thing to regaining our strength, our purpose, exposure to the world, and so able to get access to this ancient tradition, learning about it. But as far as all this knowledge to the West is concerned, it's always continuously evolving. I don't think there is one set of answer to that, because it is always continuously evolving, and generally it always a question about the struggle between ancient and modern. It's like trying to preserve culture and embracing the technology. That has been sometime a struggle, an issue for some people, and for me it's a blessing that I feel that we do have to move, trying to value our indigenous tradition, culture, core values, but also willing to adapt new technology, exactly what we are doing right now, what you're doing right now here. We won't be able to reach many people, that all of you listening, you won't be able to listen unless these technologies say, yeah, we're embracing the technology. So I think it's evolving, and I see a lot of very wisdom tradition that can benefit to modern society, and technologies are also a mean to do that.
And you mentioned the core values of the Bon tradition. What are they?
So Bon tradition, it's it's categorized in a many different way. So we have like 9 ways of Bon. So from very earthy, grounded, element practices to very energetic yogic practices with the movement, breath, mind, to a very higher level of practices, the practices of wisdom and pure awareness, practices with a light. And so there are all these different range of practices. It's available in the Burn tradition.
Thank you. So, since your arrival in the West, you established several points of contact with Western science. Apparently, always more interested in producing concrete benefits for people than in solely intellectual discoveries. For instance, you got involved with researches with cancer patients at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, and held many discussions with scientists at Serenity Ridge and other places. What do you notice scientists learn from contemplatives and vice versa? And what improvements do you envision for this dialogue to be improved from now on?
So the dialogue it's a process. I think it's a process of learning how to talk to each other, the ancient tradition and modern science, how to have understand the language, have a similar language that we can talk, or the words could mean two different things in a different discipline, but maybe in the end, maybe they might mean the same thing. So it's always about a continued process of learning to work together. The benefit of is I think many of these ancient traditions, sometimes they have too much answers already, which might not be correct one. On the other hand, the science, they have too many questions, no answers. It's always finding different answers. And these older tradition, they have too many answers, but not necessarily correct ones. So I think it's good to come together, at least some kind of confirmation, on a relative level of confirmation in our own relative conditions, like in our body. For example, if you think about our body, body is, and there's so much biofeedbacks that science already knows a lot. I mean, knowing a lot, discovering a lot. And even in yoga, meditation, breath work, dream work, all those things. So I think there's a lot of complement. So I'm very excited about to see where it goes.
Rinpoche, you mentioned now about you mentioned now about breathing and breath, and during your talk at Tibet House yesterday, you commented on the importance of breathing for health and even the role of regulated breathing in cases of spontaneous healings or remission from diseases or serious illnesses. Could you talk more about this topic, about the relationship between breathing and those
breathing and what?
And the remissions.
Spontaneous remission. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a very good question. So there are a lot of studies on, I think, over 30,000 people who have experiences of spontaneous remission, and so I'm trying to. My way of interpreting that is that spontaneous remission happens because these people have one thing in common: they have dramatically changed their life. So, for example, moving one place to another place, changing profession, changing relationship, whatever identity and identity-related work they're stuck in their life, which is producing a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety, which is draining them a lot physiologically, and they are causing this anxiety and the sickness. So once they are able to shift that for different reasons, when they're able to shift that, something changes in their health. Basically, they begin to heal. In ancient tradition, Tibetan tradition, there is stories about, they say, when somebody is sick, there is a possessor of sickness. Means somebody, they look at different ways. They say maybe there's a spirit who is causing it, or maybe internal identity which is causing it. So I think it's more easier to believe in identity. Someone in me who is last 25 years very stressed out. As a father, as a husband, as a teacher, whatever you can identify with. You can say one identity, which is my primary identity, which I identify with, last 20 years, 30 years has been suffering. And because of that, I cause these sickness. So when that identity is one single day, or 1 week, 1 month, I can shift that, give up the job, move to a new place, start completely new life. And then that identity changes. The moment that identity changes, something biologically inside, something changes. So the relationship with the breath, it could be conscious or it could be more unconscious relationship. Conscious will be that you can actually do deep breathing exercises to clear the anxiety and stress related to that event and identity. Actively, I can work with that. I can clear that. Or when you change completely your lifestyle from one place to another place, you're totally breathing differently. You're not actively trying to breathe differently, but you are breathing differently. For example, you could be at work, you're stressed out. You're in the morning, you open in the morning your email, you have few hundred emails, and many of them you don't want to read. And then in the middle of them, another phone rings. You get bombarded with this information. You stop breathing. People stop breathing, and that kind of, you hold breath with those pains. Many hours at it like that causes a sickness. So in this relationship, when you change completely your life, you are breathing differently. Okay. It's like this. Monday, you're in your office, and particularly if you don't like your work, your boss, your environment, you have poor breathing. Friday, you're off. Afternoon, you hang out with your best friends. You're smiling, you're relaxed, you're breathing better. So Monday morning office breathing and Friday afternoon breathing with your friends is two different breathing. One is causing disease. One is healing your process. And you can measure them by feedback. You can clearly measure them. So it's not only a Monday morning and Friday afternoon, it's many years of your life. Those are the game changers. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. And I'm just wondering if I understood it right, like the ways of changing our patterns. We can change on identity, and we can change also working directly with the breath. And you could you show us an example or tell us how we could work directly with the breath?
Yeah. So absolutely. So two ways. In the process, two things are happening. One is when you are with your friends in the Friday afternoon, you're breathing differently. And you can measure them, right? So you're relaxed. You're not in a fight and flight mode. You are in relax and digest mode, or you are in a resting mode. So you're breathing differently. It's naturally your body is healing. Naturally, your immune system is becoming stronger. It's a natural process. But when you are not able to change whole your situation, then you can at least change your breath. So how you breathe is basically you breathe, like for example, there are many different patterns of breathing, but I would just simply say one, just breathe, like for example, you go. So you breathe in deep from your nose, and then end your little extra inhalation. You go. hold a little bit. Short, clear, like throwing the bottle of water, shake one more time. Like that. Just very gentle. And then you rest there. I'm not breathing. I'm not breathing. I can go long, but I would not recommend. So what I'm recommending is in your own most comfortable way of breathing deep from your nose, little extra inhalation, hold comfortably a little bit, and breathe out much longer, twice longer. My body. Just rest. Comfortable, and breathe in again. So if you want, you can do whole day like this. That level of comfort. Because if it's not very comfortable, you cannot do very long, right? So you have to be very comfortable. So it's a deep breathing like that. Just simply breathing like that will change. For example, wearing this Whoop device, I have improved my HRV, heart rate variability, from 12-15 to 30-40 last 2 months. And then last week, 2 weeks, I have not done my active breathing practices. I saw last 2 days it was lower. Yesterday, I restarted my practices. Day before was 20, yesterday was like over 40. So it's a big shift. That means 40 means it's a lot for my age. It's like a teen, like 18, 19 years old HRV levels. So basically, simply breathing will change a lot your body. So that means your stress level will reduce down, your immune system will boost up. That's in a longer period of time, I think remission. I think it triggers the remission happening.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, can we talk about the Dream Yoga now? Maybe. Okay. So, the main reason, I guess, you came to Brazil this time is for the release of the book, of the new edition of the book, The Tibetan Yogas of Dream and Sleep. Yeah. And also you're giving a retreat about Dream Yoga. So first of all, what is yoga? And then why is it beneficial to do a yoga with sleep and dreams?
So first of all, to clarify, the main reason I came here not to promote the book.
Yeah.
The main reason I
right.
came here to visit my dear Sangha members. And this just happened to be together, and the Sangha member, they made it this reason to trying to do it. But for me, my main reason is just to be with the people, not to promote book or anything like that. And I truly don't care it sells or don't sells. So the answering your question is, so yoga, it's like the practice of mind, practice of wisdom, practice of awareness. And so, which is, in the West, sometimes people think about yoga immediately a physical sense. So it's not, yoga is physical, yoga can be more energetic, pranic, yoga can be more mental stages of awareness. Yoga could be awareness of the day, awareness of the night, awareness of the dark, awareness of the light, could be many different areas. So this is the ancient tradition. This is I don't know, maybe over 20 years ago, published this book, been translated into maybe over 25 languages. So, and I definitely will say this book is not the easiest book. It's a complex principles, but I think it's a very important principle, because the sleep and dream is our part of our life. Because we have managed to mess up our day, so we have night is remaining still. We are still people. Netflix is trying to mess up our night too, but we can still keep protected our night and apply into our more personal and spiritual development practice. And this is the book will help you that.
So, what do our waking moments and our dreams during sleep have in common? And why it is important to understand this shared aspect between them?
Day and the night?
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, I think our biologically, they say it's important to exposure to the light. The amount of, maybe we have 12 hours, something like that, we see this light. So it's good to feel the light, see the light. And equally important to have remain at least 9-10 hours of being in the dark for our body. So exposure to the light is important, equally exposure to the night, dark is important. So same way, all the things, what our experiences happening during the daytime, to bring awareness into all our experiences of the daytime is important, equally important, all the experiences what's happening in our night. And some part of our brains are maybe even, they say, even more active in the night than in the daytime. So the practices here is very much that trying to bring a lot of awareness throughout the day, so that whatever, as much as awareness you are able to bring through the day experience, you are able to bring those awareness also into the night, because of the similar contents and stories and situations. So you need to bring, you will bring your problem of the day into the night, right? Yeah. Reason why you have a nightmare, you are bringing a day problem to the night, your office problem to the night, your relationship problem to the night in a dream. You're not sleeping, your anxiety of the day you're bringing to the night. You're not sleeping. So same way, you can bring joy of the day into the night, wonderful stories of the day into the night, awaken awareness of the day into the night. So trying to make a bridge between day and the night with awareness and the light.
So some people feel they don't sleep. Also this, but some people feel they don't dream, or at least they don't remember their dreams. Is it correct? Is there people that don't dream? And how can we remember a little more our dreams?
Well, honestly, I don't know the real answer, right? So some people say they don't dream, but scientifically they say, I think from Dharma point of view, probably everybody dreams. So in the science, they say every 90 minutes you dreams, the cycle. So everybody dreams, but not necessarily everybody remembers, which makes sense. People don't remember what they said yesterday. So maybe it's the same good reason to forget about their dream. Maybe it's harder to remember, but everybody dreams. So question about importance of remembering a dream, I think it's important to remember your dream, because so there are certain things that when you're not able to process your dream within the dream, then you can process them after dreaming. When you're awake, you can go back, like dream analysis. You reflect on them, you analyze them, you're trying to understand them, you work on them, you clear them, you process them. So it's important as a way of processing it. I think it's important to remember it.
In Tibetan culture, I guess, people tell their dreams a little. In Brazil, we don't, in West in general, I think, often we don't, other than Alison, people don't tell their dreams. He does. But it's not so usual, right, to talk about the dreams.
Well, I mean, some context in the teaching, they say, it all depends, I think, in life. You know, people are, let's not think about dream. If you're doing something important, do you share with people?
When it's nice, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So some people, they prefer to keep private, secret, to their project until they have done it, until they're finished. Then they say, I have done it. They prefer to share afterward because they are afraid that somebody might steal the idea, somebody might become an obstacle, somebody might interfere, and they prefer to keep it secret. Dream is similar. Sometimes it's an inner spiritual development. People say, don't share your dreams. You keep secret. If you're afraid, you keep secret. But if you feel you're not afraid, then share. So I think it has so much to do with dreamer. And as my personality, generally tendency in life and dream, I feel sharing is good. But I would not recommend everybody. Probably many other people will not feel comfortable sharing everything.
Yeah.
Rinpoche, yesterday a lady questioned you about, she said that she was having trouble to sleep, and you gave us a lot of things that we can do to sleep better. So I would ask you to kind of repeat that routines with us. And also, there is something else about these things that we don't do before sleep. Often we go here in Brazil, maybe it's not a tradition. Like we often go to bed without any reflection or rest, and wake up late and jump out of the bed to work. This is like directly. And this probably doesn't help us either during the day or the night.
Sure.
What do you recommend us also to do before sleep and waking up about reflection?
Sure, a very good question. Well, first of all, I think it's so important that you are aware that you have problems sleeping, right? Because many people will think it's normal for them not to sleep. And they're not trying to improve with the lifestyle, they're trying to find pills. They get addicted to it. And then at some point, even the pills does not help anymore. So definitely, I would encourage everybody to first trust yourself that you recognize there's something that you need to do, you need to work on, and something that you can change that to improve the sleep. Because sleep is probably the number one importance in our life for our health and our well-being. The number one, more than probably anything, that as far as the process of our body, preventing unwanted diseases. There's no diseases we want, but so just a lot of reasons to that. So the first one that you trust yourself that you can change. You need to change and you can change. So personally, there are a number of little things you can do, and it's different for different people, but you have to try all of them and see what works for you, but find a solution, find a rhythm for you. It's like even a menu, you order food, you try one and you don't try one, in the end you know what you like or you don't like, right? The same thing. What works for you or doesn't work for you. Commonly speaking, I think I would give number of examples. So routinely what I try to do, I wake up in the morning, I slowly wake up in the morning, not trying to rush morning, stay in the bed, do my little meditation, little reflection, and get up, and I make a shrine especially when I'm home. I'll light a candles and put a 7 water bowl, stick of incense every morning, and then I would go out and take a cold shower outside in the garden. Northern California is a quite cold water. A few minutes I will just put the water, and it was a little bit hard in the beginning, but then comfortable. Then I began to enjoy it. Now I'm addicted to it. And then after that, I will just go outside corner of the house where the sun is rising. I will just sunbathe for maybe 10, 15 minutes, just taking the sunlight in. It's like taking the sunlight in through your eye. It's like setting my internal clock rhythm, like a starting point. Maybe after 12 hours or something like that, then I know the morning started, whenever the sun exposure, then after 12 hours later, my body I can feel now it's time to slow down and to go to the bed. Then I'll have, after maybe hour and a half or something like that, I'll have breakfast a little earlier, but then I'll have my coffee. And so that I will start do these things, right? And then during the middle of the day, I go every day, exercise every day, including my tsalung, and go to the gym also. Spend at least hour and a half to 2. I take almost like 5-6 days a week a sauna, and they say also sauna benefits so much, with so many health benefits, but also helps sleep. In the evening, I don't drink. I skip now many months. I have skip my dinner. So unless it's a very special evening, I don't get to eat that often with my teenage son. So whenever he wants the evening to go out, then I'll eat light. But most of the time, no dinner, so I skip the meal. And I feel it makes a big difference, eating and not eating. Eating earlier and eating late makes a big difference. So 3-4 hours before or right before you go to sleep, big meal makes a big difference in your sleep. So these are little things that I will change. I will recommend everybody to change. I know not everybody likes to do all of those things, but you do maybe some of them, you might like it. You don't know until you try them. I can never imagine doing all those things growing up in the monastery, right? Never thought about those things. But each one of those things, I love it. If anything, any of these little things takes away from my life, I will not be a good person to hang out with. If you give me all those things and then hang out with me, I'm a fun person to hang out with.
Some people have recurrent dreams, and why does it happen, and how can we process these dreams?
Yeah, so the recurrent dream is different ways to look at that, and I think sometimes I say people, you are a bad listener. That's why dream is telling you again and again and again. You know why you tell someone again and again? Because someone is not hearing it. Someone is not getting it. So recurring, it's trying to give you a message. If you hear it, if you do something about it, it will stop. It's a warning, basically. It's a message that you need to do something. How you need to clear some stories, clear some obstacles, clear something might happen to you. You might lose your job, find a way to work with it. You might lose your relationship, find a way something to deal with it. You might use your life, find a way something to take care of it. It's kind of warning. So I think it's a message, each situation that you have to read, I understand it.
Continuing this question, I would like to know the importance that the Buddhism and Bon tradition gives to the content of the dream. Because in Western culture, we have some kinds of dream analysis, like in psychoanalysis. And the content of the dream is very important in some kinds of psychotherapy. In Buddhist tradition, is that so? Is the same thing?
Yes. So I think in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, it's the contents of the dream. In one way, it's very important. On a relative level, it's very important. On an absolute level, it is not important. It's the same thing like my poem. In an absolute level, I'm no one. On a relative level, I'm many different roles I play. And what is more important? Both are important. Among two, what is more important? And maybe absolute level is more important. If you know, if you have a level of awareness of absolute level, that's more important. Then you don't worry about the story. For example, if you and your friend have similar situation, you go somewhere, you have something happens that is a little difficult, and then you could say, well, it's a little difficult, it's fine, and I'm okay with that. I feel free from it. I don't want to think about it anymore. It's not a big story for me. It's not important. I'm free from it. Maybe your friend says, no, this is absolutely very important. I'm not free from that. I need to figure out. I need to work on that. I need to do something. I need to sue someone. I need to do whatever that person wants to do. So same situation, two different versions of story. You feel free and your friend feels not free. Which is more important? Both are important. Dream is exactly the same thing. You can make so big deal out of it, or you can be free. When it is a big deal, you have to work with it. So, your thoughts, how many thoughts do you have? Many. Maybe some of your thoughts are so bothering you. It will not let you sleep. It will not let you smile. It will age you faster. It will make you bad mood. It will lose your friends. It will might make you even lose your job. It can do so many different things, one single thought and one single emotion, one anxiety. But maybe there are other thoughts. You don't care. So, which is the best way to deal? Is it good to get anxiety with every thought or be free from every thought? Of course, the answer will be free from every thought. But you are not free from one thought. So what? Then you have to deal with it. So dreams are very much like that. So that we have to deal with it. If that story is important, you have to deal with it. So in Jungian, I think the stories is very important. These stories will become very important. I think in the Tibetan tradition, stories are important, but there is also a way to look at it's not important. So that second option is very important to keep it. I am this, but I'm free from this.
Rinpoche, I don't know if you already had exchanges of knowledge with researchers or scientists about lucid dreams, and if yes, I want to know what are the similarities and differences between Western and Eastern knowledges about dreams and about lucid dreams.
Well, I mean, like Stephen LaBarge, who wrote a book called Lucid Dreaming, and some of the things what he says is that, lucid dream, basically you are, in some way you are conscious in your unconscious dreams, right? You're conscious that you're dreaming, and so when you're conscious, then you're able to change your dream. So you're not victim of your conditioning your dream, but you can change the stories. So you say you're stuck in a traffic, and then you say this is a dream, and dream I can do anything. You fly your car, and in dream you can do that. So when you fly your car in the traffic, what happens in biologically inside? When you're stuck in a traffic, your body is like this, traffic, Monday morning, stuck in a traffic. Maybe you're stopping breathing also, you see. So, but then you realize, oh, this is a dream. You already relax. Oh, I can do anything. I can fly. Oh, that must be much fun. Whew. You take off, and you see everybody is stuck in the traffic. You're flying like an eagle. Your car is like an eagle flying like that. So physically something happens, energetically something happens. So I think similarity is there in Stephen LaBarge. I think if I remember correct, he would talk about exercising what you're not what you're not able to do during the awakened state, you are afraid of public talking. Then in the night, you create a public and you talk. And you say, no problem with that. And you repeat it. Or you have in the awakened state, you have a problem walking with your foot. And in the night, you create a situation. I said, this is my dream. I can not only walk, I can run. In dream, you run. In awaken, you are not able to walk. So by running in your lucid dreaming, physiologically, something changes. The healing process is much faster in your body. So those are, I think, some of those, in the Western science, they make some of those links there. So for traditional purpose, we don't talk so much like that. I think our purpose goals are much bigger than just able to walk. Our purpose of goals are able to be free from your identity than just able to walk. So when you're free from my identity, you get much more bigger sense of self, your flexibility, your creativity, than just walking.
Everything you said so far connects with the whole idea of being no one, specifically no one, and something that you often talk about, that is infinite possibilities. So what is the connection? I ask this because I think that Westerners somehow don't feel that it is so desirable to have no identity, for instance. Like I want an identity. So what's the advantage of being no one, and how can it help us to recognize the infinite possibilities?
Sure. Very good question. I clearly have know that in the West there's a problem with this idea of being no one. Entire life you're trying to be someone. You're going to this school to get this degree, then to go to this one, and here you're going to get degree to go to this one, and here you're getting degree to get a job, and then you're doing something to promote. You're constantly improving your sense of identity. So you're building your identity, right? It makes sense. So there is no less interest. So a reason why we should be interested. Okay, His Holiness Dalai Lama is emphasized. He says, meditation on emptiness is so important. Meditation on wisdom is so important. If you wanted to be free from suffering, the only way you can be free from suffering is to be free from your identity. Only way you can be free from your suffering is to be free from identity. Any suffering that you have in this very moment, in anybody who's listening here, I'm talking to you. Every suffering that you have this very moment that you feel you must overcome, you need to overcome, is not even a luxury. It's a dangerous situation that if you don't overcome, you're in a big trouble. Trouble is waiting for you. Your health, your family, whatever is happening. So only way to overcome that suffering that you don't want is to overcome the identity that creating suffering. So if you know that, absolutely there should be interest to overcome that identity. Let it go. So you're letting go that identity, which is the main cause of producing your suffering, this moment in your life, that everybody knows. But there are many other sufferings that you don't know. They are also causes of your other sufferings. At least you know one, the main one. So in order to overcome that, you have to let go identity. It's a simple things like Donald Trump. Losing identity, election, is not able to let it go. You could I always think about it could be wonderful to win the election, do your best, lose the election, let it go gracefully, respectfully. Let it go. Not get into all these troubles, legal troubles, for example. This is one example. I'm just giving one example, big example. But in a little example, we all have a similar situation. So we are not able to let go certain identity, and that becomes the causes of our suffering. But when to let it go, you have to feel comfortable enough to let it go. You have to be ready to let it go. You have to feel confidence, happy. Let it go. Every role, every responsibility, people get attached to power. They hold on things. Oh, I am the boss. I am president. I am this. I am that. It's wonderful to have a role. The role is only helpful to serve better. Role is not good to become obstacle for serving more. Or role should not become an obstacle for others to serve in different ways. Your role should always open more door to others. And reason why sometimes roles becomes an obstacle is because it's identity, it's limited, negative, fearful identity associated with those roles. And you have to let it go. They're not your power, they're your weakness. Your power is when you let go of that power identity role. Then it's the most beautiful, free power that you can ever feel. So that's the identity that I'm talking about. And, you have to start little ones and look for the biggest shift of identity. Get excited about it. I will let go of this my biggest identity, but I will start today with this small one like a, I don't know, your friend says one thing and you said something different. You have a little discussion who's right, and you say, let it go. For example, I see a funny story in one of the Instagram or something, that old couples, the long couples, they've been 40 years, 50 years together, and the young guy is asking, what is the secret? The guy says, I just follow her. She's right always. When it's a sweet kind of way, but I don't know it's practically always true or not, but even it's true, that's what it is. The husband is saying, in the end of the day, I'm ready to be wrong, I'm letting her to be right. I'm letting go of my identity and letting her be right. So that's why we have peace. Does that make sense? Maybe some people are saying, no, I don't want to let it go. So you have to learn that. If you want a lasting relationship, you have to learn that.
So before we finish, I'd like to ask just a slightly more personal question. How has your experience been with the Brazilian culture and the Brazilian people and Brazilian sanga during your visits to the country? Is there anything in particular that catches your attention?
A question about your traveler identity.
What? Traveler identity, yeah. So Brazilian culture, tradition, I think one thing usually you hear from other people saying Brazilian people are very, very strong, dedicated, very spiritual. You hear this very commonly from other people, and I do feel it's the right kind of observation, that people feel they're very strong, and inner spirit, inner search for inner spirit, some level of dedication, commitment. I think it's definitely very strong, much stronger than many cultures that I know. So I think that's my experience. And as far as our own sangha is concerned, clearly a group here is very active. Even though we don't have a place, we don't have a room for collective meditation room, not like we are having central land and organization. We don't have any of those things. We just have a group, active group. And so I think in some sense it's wonderful. End of the day, I think it's very good to able to share knowledge more widely. I think that serves the purpose of the teaching, and then having place or having land, having buildings, nothing. Nowadays it's a digital world, reaching out information, sometimes land, building, and many different identity, it's more obstacle for spreading the teaching than not having is free. You just need a computer and you need just a right group of people, and just what we're doing right now. This is good.
Rinpoche, we have another question. Like, you were raised in a monastery and underwent all the intensive traditional training of Tibetan Buddhism, and you have the fruits from it, you have the rewards from it. Based on your observation of the Western way of life today, and with all the complexity and the stimuli and all that we are having, what can be achieved in terms of spiritual and mental fulfillment for us practitioners immersed in this context? Like, I think it's a question for many practitioners here today. Like, we at the same time we are practicing, we say we are kind of desconfiado. We maybe don't believe entirely that it's possible because maybe not for us. What could you say about it?
So, first of all, I let go of comparing things. Comparing is always a human nature. Parents comparing to the teenage saying, when we were growing up, we did not have a food, we did not have electricity, we did not have, you have all those things. We keep comparing. I think comparing does not make any sense. You can compare it to entertain your own mind, but you cannot compare that to trying to influence your children. Or I cannot compare monastic life with you. It doesn't make any sense. You have a different life, and I have grown up in a different way. So I think the key point here is how to make your life the best out of your life. Not trying to make my life, training in the monastery. That's not the approach, I think. So, so I don't know, what is your question? Are you saying you have a hope or not?
That's a great way to phrase it.
Should we have hope or not?
For sure you have a hope. We all have a hope. So we are all evolving. It's continuously evolving. And everybody begins journey from different places, at different position. The most important thing to know in the journey, to know where you are. When you're traveling, when you're looking on the highway, a big map, what do you look? There's a little arrow says you're here, right? That's what you look. I'm here. So then when you know where you are, then you know where you came from, how far it was, then you know where you're going, how far it is. Then you also know where you can go bathroom, where you can get some food, and how long it will take. You know your journey. Knowing where you are is important. So each person in a modern situation, I think it's just good to know where you are. And I think maybe there are some sense of a little bit more challenges in the Western world, because there's very little trust, like to everything. Like we grow up listening a lot. We grow up obeying a lot. We grow up respecting a lot. We grow up with a lot of ownership, like honoring elders and things like that. These cultures are not here in the Western world, right? So somehow, in the Western world everybody thinks I'm free, except I'm not free from myself, right? I'm free from everybody and not free from myself, right? So if you're not free from yourself, you cannot be free from anybody also. So, but I think our hope is clearly there, and try.
Great. And then to finish, I think you already answered it in a way, I guess, but having this very long the study that you had and the practices and the dialogues with scientists, and I've seen you teach about sound healing and creativity and 5 wisdoms, breath, dreams, sleep, and so on, and many more things. If you could, from everything that you have taught us, if you could say what's the most essential that you would like to share, what would it be?
So, all the teachings of the Buddha, I think essence is very simple. Everything that I wrote, essence is very simple. But so many different approaches, essence is very simple. Essence comes down to know yourself. Essence comes down to manifest from what you know about yourself. It comes down to that place. So that means you grow up in a monastery, you're a different identity. You grow up in the West, you're a different identity. So knowing yourself is more important than, you don't have to go to know yourself to go to the monastery, do everything what I did, and then come back to yourself to know yourself. No, you just start where you are. That's an easier way to start where you are, rather than trying to do me, going to the monastery, doing all the things and come back and then becoming Brazilian you again, and then trying to journey. No, shortcut is just start where you are, know yourself. Know yourself means what? Means know who you are not first. How you start? We already talked about it, that most painful suffering that you have this moment, it's created by your one single identity, immediate single identity, primary identity. You are not that. So you learn to be free from that one single identity. Then you have learned the biggest lesson of your life. The rest of all are simple game. So that's number one. Once you are even entertaining the idea of, like for example, if you work in one company for 40 years and you feel this is the greatest job, it pays well and wonderful, and then one day you realize, I'm not sure about it. And the entertaining idea, maybe I should let go. Oh, if I let go, then I'm losing $100,000 a year. Oh, I don't want to lose that. I want to let go, but I don't want to lose the money. There's a little of that, right? But then maybe one day you said, I don't care about $100,000 anymore. What I care is the freedom of my sense of self. And I'm happy that I worked, and I'm happy that I've saved the money. But it's a time. I let it go. I don't care. But what that means is, it doesn't mean very careless way of saying let it go. Means it's the expansion of self. I will serve my community. I will serve my family. I will guide my child, but I will let him or her be free. I will serve my family. I will let them do what they want to do. I will give them what they need in order to do that. I will serve my community. I will serve in the very, very free way, not controlling way. So when you feel you don't have to control yourself, you don't feel you have to control anybody else also. So that way of discovering that who you are by knowing who you are not, starting on a very personal level, it's a wonderful blessing to do that journey. And once you feel that, your ability to give more love, more compassion, more kindness, you have more generosity, you're happier. So you start with that. If you do that, you'll be breathing better every day because you feel free. You feel less anxious. You feel more kind. You love people. So your day, it looks good. Right? So this is, I think, where you should start. And that's why I'm saying, you read book or you don't read book, doesn't matter. If you like to read book, read book. If you don't like to read book, don't read book. But you don't have a choice not to look at your own books, your own stories. You don't have a choice. If you're not reading them, they're reading you all the time. So you better figure out who reads first and delete all the files. Right? Okay, that's all.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, yeah.
We are very happy and to be able to share this with the Brazilians also.
Yeah, thank you.
very much.
Thank you all for doing what you do.